On a road in mainland China, covered in snow, a large truck slides forward uncontrollably. The truck lightly bumps into another smaller truck, causing it to start spinning. The back of the small truck becomes its front, and it quickly slides downhill.
2, 3, this is the fourth.
The cars crashed into each other.
Look at this front. Look, here come more than 10 more.
In the video, heavy snow is falling, and police sirens are heard. On the road, many cars have rear-ended each other. A truck loses control in the snow, repeatedly reversing and crashing into a car, then quickly reversing again. With a loud bang, it hits another truck. The driver of the truck that was hit runs away quickly while screaming. Two trucks then move toward another car. Another section of the road looks the same. A car spins in the snow and slides backward, eventually crashing into another vehicle on the side of the road. Not far away, another car has its hazard lights on, warning other vehicles not to crash. But by this point, everything has spiraled out of control.
Our car is totaled, but we're okay. Don't worry, we're fine. We're heading from Suihua to Qinglong Town, just about a kilometer away from Qinglong.
In northern China, a resident was driving from Suihua, Heilongjiang, to Qinglong Town when the accident happened on the highway. It was snowing heavily, and several dozen cars collided in a chaotic mess. Drivers were calling their families to report their safety. Heavy snow was still falling at the scene. According to a Chinese news report, just before the New Year, a nationwide cold wave and snowstorm arrived suddenly, challenging travelers on their way home. The cold front hit central China with heavy snow in Henan. Many drivers were stuck on the road due to the snow. Mr. Su was driving from Beijing back to his hometown in Shiyan, Hubei, planned to arrive on the evening of January 24th, but due to the heavy snow, the Lu'an Expressway was closed, and he exited the highway around 11 p.m., taking National Road 241 instead. But by noon on the next day, he was still stuck on that road. The snow kept falling, accumulating to about 10 to 15 centimeters. The slippery road caused many accidents along the way, with cars overturned and trees falling. Mr. Su said, "I've been stuck here for 5 hours. I just saw a snowplow coming. The road isn't fully cleared yet. The snowplow clears it as it goes, and the cars follow it. We're just behind." He continued, "We've been going a bit, stopping a bit. After 12 hours, we've covered about 100 kilometers. Mr. Su mentioned that around 4 or 5 a.m. on the 25th, he was stuck on National Road 241, along with 50 to 60 other vehicles, and the snow was still coming down. On January 25th, in Sanmenxia, Henan, heavy snow forced drivers to help each other push their cars. Look, they're all pushing the cars.
Keep going, don't stop. Go ahead.
Look, everyone, can you see? On January 26th, the city of Dongfang, Henan, was covered in heavy snow.
Look, guys, this is Xinjiang. This isn't northeast China. This is Henan. Look at how thick the snow is.
According to a report by Red Star News, on the evening of January 25th, a power outage occurred at the Funio Mountain Ski Resort in Luoyang, Henan. It caused many visitors to be trapped on the ski lifts for nearly an hour. Visitors on the slopes had to use their phones to light the way and finish skiing. The power department said the outage was caused by a fault in the power lines due to the heavy snow. Mr. Wang told the media that he traveled from Xinxiang, Henan, to the ski resort in Luoyang. On the evening of the 25th, while he was on the ski lift, it suddenly stopped, and the ski resort lost power. At the time, the temperature was minus 10 degrees Celsius. Several visitors were trapped on the ski lift for around 40 minutes. The night skiing session, which should have lasted 4 hours, was delayed for over an hour. Some children were scared and crying. Due to the power outage, another visitor, Mr. Liu, was skiing on the intermediate slope. He was nearing the bottom of the slope when he suddenly noticed all the lights going out. He was recording a video on his phone to document the slope conditions when the lights went out, leaving the area pitch black. The brightly lit slope suddenly turned black, and many people screamed. Skiers had to slow down, turning on their phone flashlights to make it to the bottom of the slope. Mr. Liu said the power outage lasted about an hour, and he didn't see any emergency lighting on the slope. According to a report from Jiupai News, on January 24th, Ms. Fang, along with her husband, brother, and sister, was driving from Luoyang, Henan, back to her hometown in Yueyang. She said the heavy snow started falling on the night of the 23rd, but she didn't realize how serious the situation was. She thought the 7-hour trip on the highway would be straightforward, and they'd be home for the New Year by the evening of the 24th. However, after setting out, they found that the highway was closed. Not knowing the road conditions and facing heavy snow, navigation became the biggest challenge. At many points, she was close to breaking down, and feeling helpless, began live streaming on social media. After receiving help from netizens, she finally reached home in the early hours of the 26th. She said, "This snowstorm made us a day late getting home." They had prepared instant noodles, but without hot water, they didn't eat until the afternoon of the 25th. At the end, everyone arrived safely. A man named Mr. Yang, who works in Xi'an, was traveling with his wife and 2 children. On the morning of the 25th, they set out by electric car to Shangluo City, a trip that normally takes 2 hours. It took them 24 hours instead. He said that after driving around 40 kilometers from the Baqiao toll station onto the highway, traffic started to pile up, and the snow was falling harder. He said, "At this point, I became extremely anxious because my car is electric, and in winter, the battery drains very quickly. If we didn't reach a service area, we wouldn't be able to recharge. With 2 3-year-old kids, we didn't dare to use the heater to save power. I just had everyone wear more clothes to stay warm." Fortunately, an ambulance appeared ahead of them, and they followed it to a service area. They rested in the car overnight, recharged the car, and then set off again the next morning after the road cleared a bit. They finally arrived home around 10 a.m. on the 26th. Additionally, a netizen who was traveling from Shenzhen to Nanning said it took around 15 hours to get home, stopping at 3 service stations to recharge. Normally, the trip would only take 8 hours. According to NetEase, the traffic jam on the western section of the Hushan Expressway was caused by heavy snow. The closure of the highway entrance caused a traffic jam for many visitors heading home for the New Year. In Lantian County, Shanxi, villagers said the snow was half a meter deep in front of their houses, and travel was blocked so they could only move around their homes, clearing half a meter of snow to leave their houses.
On the morning of January 25th, at the intersection of Shanghai Road and Jianhe Avenue, at this circular overpass, it's snowing heavily again. Look, there's still quite a bit of snow on the road. Over there is Wohu Mountain Park. Ahead is a high-rise. The road is all muddy. Here by the fence of Jindo Road's 3rd high school, that's a public restroom. And look, the road is still slippery, but cars are still passing. It's walkable, though a bit difficult.
On January 23rd, on the Jiaotang Expressway in Henan, multiple cars collided in a pileup.
There's been a crash. This happened on the Jiaotang Expressway. Look, there are more than 10 cars crashed into each other. It was probably due to the slippery road from the rain.
Due to heavy snow and blizzards, many regions in China have implemented traffic control measures. According to the Liaoning Traffic WeChat account, as of 10:40 a.m. on January 27th, after coordination with traffic police, some toll stations in Shenyang, Huludao, Tieling, Jingzhou, and Fushun, Panjin, Fuxing, and Yingkou have reopened. However, other toll stations in the province remain closed. I'm a traffic broadcaster in Liaoning. Currently, I'm at the Benxi toll station. You can see the heavy snow behind me. Due to the snowfall, all the toll stations in Liaoning province are currently closed. Due to the blizzard, 729 toll stations in Liaoning have closed. Affected by the blizzard, several highways are also closed, and temporary traffic controls are in place on some highways in Shanxi. Many highways in Shanxi have also been closed or controlled, and some trains in Xinjiang have been suspended. Xinjiang Railway announced that from January 23rd, all trains from Urumqi to Korla, Kashgar, Khotan, and Tachang are suspended, with no resumption time set. Some highways in Henan have banned 7-seat or larger passenger vehicles and hazardous material transport vehicles from entering. Shanxi has implemented temporary traffic controls on highways in Tongchuan, and some roads in Shanxi have also banned large passenger vehicles, trucks, and hazardous goods vehicles. The resumption time is still pending. According to the Ministry of Transport, as of 9 a.m. on the 24th, 79 road sections in Shanxi, Xinjiang, Henan, Ningxia, Gansu, Heilongjiang, and Sichuan have been affected. 25 main road sections have been closed, involving 17 highways and 76 toll stations. Additionally, 328 toll stations have been closed independently with no resumption time set. A netizen commented, "This kind of weather happens once in a decade. Not many people have anti-slip chains, and ice forms instantly in extreme weather. You probably haven't experienced it. While it's raining, a gust of wind comes and immediately freezes, leaving no time to slow down. The only solution is to check the weather forecast in advance and avoid traveling, but this year's forecast was very inaccurate." Another netizen said, "Chinese drivers are already reckless. Some bribe to get licenses, and others drive overloaded trucks, rely on autopilot, or unreliable electric cars. And in places like Henan, they put salt bags by the roadside in the morning, and by the afternoon, the locals take them away. It's a miracle if the roads are good." According to a report, the cold wave and snowstorm in mainland China that started on January 23rd had a wide-ranging impact, with some areas experiencing heavy snowfall and drastic temperature changes. According to the China National Meteorological Center, this rain and snow has affected most parts of mainland China, with the highest impact areas being southern Shanxi, northwestern Henan, northwestern Hubei, southern Sichuan, and eastern Liaoning. According to China Weather Network, from January 24th to 27th, the first cold wave of the year continued to affect China. Most areas in the central and eastern regions will experience rain and snow, with parts of the northwestern, northern, and northeastern regions experiencing heavy snow. Temperatures in places like Tianshan and Tianchi dropped dramatically, plummeting more than 20 degrees Celsius. On the morning of January 30th, China Weather reported that from January 30th to February 2nd, a larger-scale rain and snow event is expected in the central and eastern regions. Some areas in eastern Gansu, southern Shanxi, western Huanghuai, and northern Jianghan will experience light to moderate snow and sleet, with some regions in southern Shanxi, northwestern Hubei, western Henan, and southeastern Gansu expected to see heavy snow and localized blizzards. The southern regions will experience light to moderate rain, with some areas seeing heavy rainfall. For northern China, the main snowfall period is expected from the 2nd to 4th day of the Lunar New Year, while the rainy weather in the south will likely last until the 5th day. However, experiencing heavy snow during the New Year is not exclusive to 2025. In 2024, also during the Chinese New Year, heavy snow and freezing rain in Hubei and Hunan caused severe traffic disruptions, leaving many travelers stranded. Some stranded passengers had to melt snow for drinking water, while others climbed over highway barriers to buy food from nearby villages. Some were trapped on the road for more than 50 hours, with many overwhelmed and in tears. According to a February 5th report by Station Master Home, truck driver Mr. Kong had been stuck for more than 30 hours on the Shuguang Expressway in Hubei. His supplies had run out, and due to a lack of water, he had to start melting snow for drinking water. The report mentioned that drivers stranded on the expressway faced not only a lack of food and water, but also cold weather, urgently needing assistance and support. On February 4th, Shangyou News reported that Mr. Deng from Xi'an was returning home from Guangzhou on February 2nd. By 1 a.m. on the 3rd, he had reached Changsha around 8 p.m. and arrived in Jingli, Hubei, but was stuck in traffic. He rested at a service area before his car froze overnight. When he managed to get moving on the 4th, he was stuck again just a few kilometers away. Mr. Deng said, "I was driving on snow. There's no road left. A slight turn and the back of the car starts skidding." What should have been a 20-hour trip to Xi'an had turned into a longer journey of being stuck on the road. The report also mentioned Mr. Zhang from Henan, who, like Mr. Deng, was stuck in Hubei. He had entered Hubei around 7 a.m. on the 3rd and was still stuck on the 4th, almost 30 hours later. He said that many service areas in Hubei were inaccessible, and drivers were especially short on water. A woman posted online about passengers being stranded at Wuhan Tianhe Airport for over 24 hours. During this time, she only slept 2 hours at a hotel arranged by the airline, repeatedly boarding and disembarking the plane. Some passengers fainted from exhaustion. The woman reported that by the time the plane finally took off, she had been at the airport for 30 hours. Mr. Luo, who was driving from Hangzhou to Chongqing, said that he had left Hangzhou on the afternoon of the 2nd, and by 9 on the 3rd, he was stuck on the highway in Hubei. By the 4th, when he was interviewed, he was still about 7 to 8 kilometers from the Jingzhou East service area. Mr. Luo said he had been stuck in Hubei for 44 hours, and the traffic was so bad that it stretched far ahead, with emergency lanes also blocked. Due to a lack of food, he had to climb over the barrier and enter nearby villages, where he bought a few bags of bread. Another report mentioned that Miss Tu from Ankang, Shanxi, was also stuck in Hubei's Xiantao, where snow was falling heavily. The expressways were covered with thick snow. She said many of the stranded people didn't have enough supplies, and some have to climb over the railway barriers to buy food in the village. Hainan Radio and Television reported that in Hunan, heavy snow caused severe traffic jams on expressways, and service areas were overwhelmed with vehicles. A man was stuck at the Cili service area on the Hunan Expressway for more than 50 hours. He cried, saying, "I just want to go home." Netizens commented, "Looking at this, it seems like this year's weather is just like last year. Heavy snow at the start of the year, floods in the middle, and droughts at the end. It's always some sort of once-in-a-century event. Every year feels like once in 100 years. What else can we do but endure?" Last year, in mid-year, farmers in Henan and Hebei were praying for rain, but after that, the rains didn't stop, leading to flooding. Which dynasty didn't face both natural disasters and human tragedies at the end?